Welcome to the Careerfluencer podcast. This is Mary Benson. I'm an assistant buyer currently based out of Plano, Texas. I think everyone looks at social media as a highlight reel, and I feel like it's so easy to compare yourself to others. There's a lot of hard work that goes on behind it. Once you're there, once you have reached your goal, it's so worth it. I remember even telling people that I was getting a degree in fashion merchandising. I can't tell you how many people said oh, you're never going to get a job. That's, a stupid degree. Everyone had an opinion, but to me, I don't know, you just can't listen to that. I had a goal in mind. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I remember even being in high school and not really knowing what I wanted to do yet. And, all my friends were talking about what college they wanted to go to and, what they wanted to do. And I feel like I didn't really have a good idea of what I wanted until I remember it was my senior year of high school. And I took a fashion design class and a fashion merchandising class. And I remember thinking right then, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I love this retail world. I love how fast paced everything is. So I think back to my senior year of high school, really, and that's really when I knew that I wanted to do that. So I knew for the career that I wanted, I obviously had to go to college. I had to get a degree. So I feel like that was really the most challenging part for me because along with a lot of other young adults, I had no idea how I was going to pay for college. I had no idea how I was going to do that. So I spent the first 2 years at community college before I transferred over to a university. And I remember that time in my life, really was just super challenging just because I was working 2 jobs to put myself through school, and I had this goal, I had this vision, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, I knew the career that I wanted, but it was definitely challenging at times to get there. So it took me a little bit longer to graduate. It took me 6 years instead of 4 years to get my bachelor's. And that definitely was really challenging because you think, after 6 years, I'm seeing my friends, they're already getting their masters, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. So that was definitely challenging. I felt like I was, behind at times and, not where I was supposed to be. But I really think that's just, everyone has a different career path. There's no set in stone, path that you have to follow. I think everyone does things in their own time. And I did end up graduating from a university with a degree in fashion merchandising. And, even though it took a little bit longer, I was really glad to have had that experience that I did, because in that time for me, when it was really challenging, working 2 jobs and trying to get through school, I think that really kind of helped me build up the work ethic that I have right now, so even though it wasn't how I expected it to go, it took me a little bit longer. I do think that, everything happens for a reason, and that particular experience was right for me. And, I am where I am today in my career because of that experience. So I think, looking back, I'm thankful that everything happens the way it did. And again, there's no really specific way to, start your career, go through college. Everyone has a different way. So after I graduated from college, I got an internship for a very large retailer in kind of the product development and trends area. So after my internship, and it was kind of interesting because I really was interested in the fashion merchandising and kind of the apparel part, but I ended up getting a job after college in the home decor field. And that's never really something that I thought of for myself. I was always very focused on, I wanted to do fashion. I wanted to do fashion merchandising. So that kind of surprised myself at how much I liked it. So I ended up working, like I said, getting an internship for this large home decor retailer. And then from there, got hired straight on as in the buying office as an assistant. And then after working there for another year, I became an assistant buyer for one of their departments. So that's kind of where I am right now. And it definitely was challenging. I can't pretend like it was all easy all the time. And I think social media can be really dangerous sometimes because, I feel like even just seeing me like, oh, like graduated college, got an internship, got a job, like you really don't see the hard work and the challenges that were behind all of that, and so I think first of all, if you're in that position, social media, you just have to be really careful. I do think that people post their, the highlights of their life, but sometimes like the hard work and the resilience it took to get there, you don't always see that. So I feel like a lot of people go through this and like go through these challenges while they're in school. So for me, it definitely, like I said, it wasn't easy at times. I remember just like I was working in a restaurant for the money, and then I was working in retail stores for the experience. And I remember like sometimes I would I'd go home for like an hour and a half, and then I'd like go to my other job. So it definitely wasn't always easy. But a moment that really stands out for me in my career, I think, is the very first time that I walked into the stores and saw a line of products that I had worked on. That was just a really cool feeling. I think what a lot of people don't know about the buying industry is, well, first off, I feel like when I tell people what I do, they really don't understand. They're like, oh, you're an assistant buyer, you get paid to shop, which is a little bit of a misconception just because there's so many different steps that have to happen from when you're thinking of a product's a good idea in your office, from that time all the way to where it ends up in the store. Like there's a huge process. You have to figure out, you have to identify the trends, you have to develop the product, you have to, what color is it going to be? What material? Are you getting it from another country? If you are getting it from another country, how are you going to get it here? When is it going to get here? What's the retail going to be? Is it competitive? Like there's just so many different things that you have to think of when you're, buying products for a large retailer. So I think back to this particular project that I had actually started working on when I was an intern. My project as an intern was to come up with a new trend, like a new concept for a particular line of products. And it was cool because after my internship and I transitioned into my job in the buying office, I was able to take my presentation that I'd worked on as an intern and actually work on that from the buying side and actually make those products happen. So that was really cool to kind of see this particular line go. I was able to, work on it from the concept stage. I was able to, figure out the actual logistics, like where does the product fit in the assortment? How am I going to get it here? What product partners do I need to work with? So it was really cool to kind of see like this particular line from start to finish. I was able to see the whole process. And when you actually walk into the stores and see, these products in the store, that's really cool, and it's a cool feeling to know that you're able to inspire others, that you're able to inspire customers, that they walk through the store and, put that in their cart. That's a cool feeling. So I remember too, like right after I went to the store and like saw that these items were finally in the store, I like every single day at work, I refreshed our report so I could see like what was selling, what was the best seller, what was the worst seller. So even more exciting than actually seeing your products in the store is seeing if they're actually selling. So that's another big part of what I do. And it's a lot of fun. And since then, there's been multiple other, initiatives and projects that I've worked on. But that very first one, I think I'm just going to remember forever. So I feel like while you're pursuing your career, that's always important to remember is just, your work ethic. And I would just encourage you to just keep working hard, take social media with a grain of salt and just focus on your goals.